Hey, I'm looking for something cool to watch.
I'd like to know what you feel as far as the responsibilities of representing mankind on this trip.
That's relatively difficult to answer. It's a job that we collectively said that was possible and we could do, and of course the nation itself is backing us, so we just sincerely hope that we measure up to that.
The whole Apollo program was designed to get 2 Americans to the lunar surface and back again to Earth safely. The enormity of this event is something that only history will be able to judge. Apollo 11 has very simply been given the mission of carrying men to the moon, landing them there, and bringing them safely back.
I can feel it in here when it's on.
Okay, all flight controllers, go to go. I don't know. Go. GNC, go. Econ, go. Surgeon, go. Captain Onward, go for landing. Here, go for landing, over.
Roger, okay, go for landing. 30 feet, 2.5 down.
30 seconds.
4 forward, just to the right, though. 20 feet, 2.5. Forward, just to the right.
Contact right.
Have you ever heard of Alice Guy-Blaché?
I'm a filmmaker. I've never even heard of that.
I've never heard of Alice.
I'd heard of her no, I'd never heard of her.
I think people will think you're making it up.
1895. The Lumières present the first public demonstration of their new invention, the cinématographe, the first reliable method to project motion pictures. Among those invited, a young secretary. She thought, why not use film to tell stories? Alice Guy writes, directs, and produces one of the first narrative films ever made. Alice is one of the first to utilize many film techniques, including close-ups, hand-tinted color, and synchronized sound. Alice founds her own company, where she directs and manages all aspects of production. Following a 2-decade career comprised of 1,000 films that she wrote, directed, or produced, Alice disappears from filmmaking.
How could such an important figure in the birth of cinema not be known? I was determined to do something about it.
My name is Pamela Green, and I'm working on a documentary.
Alice Guy-Blaché.
Look at the films being made, train coming into a station, waves breaking on a beach. Who cares? They're just boring subjects. You really needed people like Alice Guy to come in and show you there was more to the cinema than just a stock shot.
She might be really one of the very first directors in the history of film.
These are things that connect directly to her.
This is it. The remains of the family artifacts.
Alice Guy-Blaché, an interview with Simone Blaché.
Oh my God!
The acting and the scope of what she's shooting were beautiful, artistic shots.
She was a filmmaker of rare sensitivity with a remarkably poetic eye.
Most of her films were lost. The stories in the films that did survive were groundbreaking and innovative. But the greatest story of them all was her own.
Beer is the magic elixir. I think that it's really a gift from God.
Beer is part of our DNA.
Share something that you have in common. A lot of people don't have a lot of things in common right now.
Beer might just be what's going to end up saving us.
It's not a totally well-balanced diet. You need a few pretzels as well.
Tasting is something that requires all of your focus. It's like a symphony.
You're taking on a challenge that only 13 have been able to achieve.
Fantastic. Success.
The most difficult exam in all of beer.
You know, it's a 99 to 100% fail rate.
The clock starts ticking at the beginning of a gauntlet.
I really want to get back to where we started.
I want to make a traditional Berliner Weiss, and I want it to just blow everyone away.
I'm very familiar with this style. I think it's wit beer.
3.5. Uh-oh.
They make or break you sometimes. The last second changes.
Whew. This beverage encapsulates our society.
I think at this point, it's a quest.
Joe cares so much about the little things.
I've seen people come to tears.
Pale ale, caramel malt, sugar adjuncts, diacetyl, fruity, orange marmalade hops.
Bonus points. It really represents the first biotechnology.
It can be dangerous and it's bloody hot.
Oh, that's boiling. It's gonna boil over.
Someone is going to drink my beer in the Netherlands today, and it could possibly make their day better. That is why people should get in the beer business.
You cannot call it beer, you just have to call it a refreshing beverage made out of malt with alcohol.
Let's go! In the house! This is the point where you just start blowing everything up. Hey, I'm hit! Hey! There's a very high value individual here.
Luckily for us, Afghanistan's a hash farm.
Too close! Smack! Shift! This side! So what happened to you today?
Just a boo-boo. I don't want any more combat.
Whatever the enemy has planned, by the grace of God, let us pray.
Get right here, dude. You get a better shot. That had to be one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Hey, Mom, hey, Dad, everybody, I'm doing good in Kajaki, Afghanistan. The boys are taking care of me. I just want y'all to know I love you, and I can't wait to come home.
That's the wrong building. How you doing, buddy? Another day, man. Another day.
It's a beautiful day here at the state capitol. Great day to be a Satanist. I believe it, and I'm very excited about it. We're not what you think we are.
The Satanic Temple was an idea between a handful of people directly confronting authority.
This makes life fun.
State officials have put up a 10 Commandments monument on government property.
Satanists are demanding equal rights.
I am a tax-paying member of Arkansas, and I don't want that there.
They just want to irritate.
The Satanic Temple says you also need to put up our monument to Satanism.
As a Satanist, I believe that confronting injustice is an expression of one's satanic faith.
You see Christian theocracy just creeping itself into our government, and it is our duty to stand up to this.
We want people to evaluate the United States being a Christian nation. It's not. We are supposed to be a nation that doesn't allow the government to dictate what is appropriate religious expression.
Satanists sue Missouri.
If we're being sued by the Satanic Temple, we gotta be doing something right.
It's our goal to shut down their agenda, which is to bring death and destruction.
You guys are horrible people.
Is this how everyone that's different is treated?
It is out of not only Satanism, but patriotism that I am motivated.
Satanism is looking out for the other, because we are the other.
I am following a code of ethics, having fellowship with brethren. Why can't that be a religion?
We do indeed invoke Satan.
We have gone from 3 people to 50,000.
There's no doubt that this is my life's work.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Not bad.
In any list of the most influential men in American life, you'll find the predictable political leaders, commentators, and tycoons. But one name that keeps cropping up is none of those things. He advises presidents.
He was a mythic figure.
Confers with the Pope.
we heard these stories about this legend.
Is chairman of the Rockefeller Foundation.
My God, how many lives did this man live?
He is Father Theodore Martin Hesburgh, president of the University of Notre Dame.
Oh boy, here we go.
Father Hesburgh had an extraordinary ability to reach across lines.
We all ought to be protesting against many of the things we see in modern life.
I heard from some he was a very progressive liberal. From some he was a very conservative man of the cloth.
Father Hesburgh was a giant of the civil rights movement.
We are verging towards two societies, one black and one white, and that wouldn't be America, I don't think.
He was asked to join Martin Luther King in Chicago.
He was aware of threats made against him and other civil rights leaders.
His only response was, "When do you want me there?"
Robert Anson, Time magazine, is presumed captured by the Viet Cong.
He put his AK to my forehead, and I knew I was digging my own grave. I knew exactly one word of Vietnamese: peace. Father Hesburgh called the Pope, and he said, unless you can intervene, he'll be dead.
You're one of the most influential men in this country, aren't you?
I don't think I'm trying to be. I know a lot of people. A lot of it's just power of friendship.
U.S. Commission on Civil Rights.
It was going nowhere.
The president called Father Ted.
Father Hesburgh became the conscience of the country.
We've got a plain problem with Hesburgh. He's always attacking us. Let's kill the damn idiots.
He wasn't afraid of anybody.
We don't prove anything by burning something down. We prove something by building it up.
Being a priest is an isolated life. There's no family. There were no kids to raise. He did that to be a father to all people.
He could bring people together.
That's the kind of leader we need today. We just don't have those kind of figures anymore. I just owe him everything.
Depuis que le sabre a commencé, c'est-à-dire depuis que le djihad a commencé, tu ne verras jamais un lieu de bière, tu ne verras jamais une discothèque, une boîte de nuit. Bien au contraire, voir la bière ou voir la débauche. Et depuis que les lapidations ont commencé, on coupe la main des voleurs, la main et le pied de travers encore des coupeurs de route. Ces pratiques religieuses, alhamdoulilah, il n'y a plus de vol.
هؤلاء جماعة الحسبة هم الذين بيّنوا أن يوجد امرأة على اليمين كانوا يبيعون الخمر على هذه الناحية نضرب أي إنسان.
أما ما يسمى عندهم بالزواج المثلي فحكم الإسلام فيه واضح وهو مشروع، هو تعد على الفطرة الإنسانية.
حكم الشريعة في صاحبها أنه يقتل. الغرب جرب دين الشيوعية وجرب دين الاشتراكية وجرب العلمانية وجرب قبل ذلك المسيحية وهو حكم الكنيسة كما هو معلوم. لا بديل عن هؤلاء يوازيهم في قوتهم وفي شمولية طرحهم غير الإسلام.
Ces motivations qui sont à l'origine de ce travail sont des motivations personnelles. C'est en effet ma famille qui est en partie morte dans les camps d'extermination nazis et je souhaite profondément que ces choses ne puissent plus jamais se reproduire.
For me, sailing was about freedom. It was freedom of everything. It was leaving everything behind. My father died when I was 10. My parents instilled in me a sense of determination. So when I heard about the Whitbread Round the World race, it was just something I had to do. Sailing at that time was very male-dominated, and there were just no women anywhere in it.
The Whitbread Round the World race at 33,000 miles is the longest and most challenging on Earth.
I wanted to be part of this. I remember going to the skipper, and he went, "We're not going to be the only racing team in the world with a girl." And that's when I made the decision to put an all-female crew into the race.
I didn't want a real job, I wanted adventure. I just thought that would be fantastic.
I was going to do everything I could to do it.
We didn't really take it seriously.
There was nothing to show that they would be acknowledged for anything other than failure.
I was so full of doubt and fear. All I was thinking was, am I the right person to do this?
3, 2, 1. The Whitbread race is underway.
We weren't naive, we knew it was going to be hard.
We didn't think they would even finish the first leg.
It was something that we were told we couldn't do, but we were doing it anyway.
This is the first time in my life I had stood up for something I believed in, and the harder it became, the more I wanted to do it. As we were finishing the first leg, I said, "Is that loads of little birds over there?" Then we realised it's thousands of people.
They were not there for us.
How many times we were told we couldn't do it? You're not strong enough. You're not skilled enough. You'll all die.
It was brilliant.
Just completely overwhelming.
What if I tell you about a young girl who had a dream about sailing around the world? What if I tell you that it did happen?
Meeting Gorbachev is burdened by history. Please allow me to explain myself. I'm a German, and the first German that you probably met wanted to kill you. The Soviet Union was in full decline.
То, что мы делали, оно все-таки направлено на преобразование.
Чтобы ускорить... Ну куда ж ближе?
I like Mr. Gorbachev. I think we both believe that we can do business together.
This was a breakthrough.
Мы, американцы, лучше всех знаем, чего стоило бы. Гибели цивилизации.
Głęboko wierzył, że da radę zreformować komun. Więc go zachęcaliśmy, brawo, mówiliśmy, żeby reformował, bo wiedzieliśmy, że wyjmie pewien element i to się zawali. I z tymi brawami tylko patrzyliśmy kiedy.
The forces Gorbachev had unleashed triggered independence movements in practically all corners of the Soviet bloc.
Das hat es in der Geschichte noch nie gegeben.
Visibly for the entire world, the Iron Curtain started to be lifted. However, Austrian Evening News was clueless about the magnitude of the event.
Zumindest einem Drittel mit Bier füllen.
Their lead story was about slugs.
А почему же вы, когда вот этот процесс шел, я головой, как говорят, об стенку бился? Такие люди, которые не понимают важность продолжения сотрудничества, такие люди не должны места иметь в политике.
I would like to hear what should be on your gravestone.
Мы старались.
There's a saying, never meet your heroes because they'll break your heart.
From the moment I remember, I wanted to be a baseball player. It was the American dream. I got kicked off the team for smoking weed. It was a disaster. My plan was go into medicine.
The Belize School of Medical and Performing Arts.
What is Florida about? It's about vanity and sex. It was a perfect place for the anti-aging movement.
Especially down here in Miami, everyone wants things now.
There's almost no regulations.
You'd have people who pretended to be doctors, giving all types of medical advice.
He had a white lab coat that said Dr. Tony Bosch. He had a stethoscope around his neck. Yeah, I assumed he was a doctor.
Manny was the first VIP client. Within weeks, his focus was much better. He felt a lot quicker.
This guy says, yeah, my cousin's in the Yankees. It was an A-Rod.
He says, I want whatever Manny was taking. I had a true believer right away. You know, 7 days after he started my program, he went ahead and in one game, he hit 3 home runs. And he said, I'll give you an extra 150 grand a year if you give me an exclusivity. I said, for 200, you got a deal. Listen, each home run costs money. At this time, Biogenesis had close to 300 athletes. We were consuming so much product, I had to go to the black market.
Okay, I just stumbled across some kind of steroid ring.
I didn't think I was gonna get caught. I was busy going to parties. My cocaine bill was $6,000 a month.
The biggest steroid scandal in sports history exploded over $4,000.
Yes, look, if I don't get my money, I'll blow this whole thing up.
It was just an absolute clown show.
Get rid of steroids now.
This is my whole life, my legacy. You tell me why I should serve one inning.
Tony Bosch is not a doctor. Tony Bosch is a drug dealer.
Coke addict, bad son, bad father, bad brother, bad everything.
What can you tell us about that?
No comment.
He's lucky he's not in the canal anywhere.
This guy's connected. A lot of people involved. Don't do this. You're gonna get killed. So I got my 9mm.
For every sleazy thing Major League Baseball did in trying to pay witnesses, threatening people to cooperate, A-Rod and his crew were doing almost the exact same thing.
You pretty much can forget the Hall of Fame.
It was almost like, hey, Mom, I made it to the big leagues, but in a different way, you know? You can't make this up.
This is in 1862. Lincoln said, "They wish to get rid of me, and I am sometimes half disposed to gratify them. We are now on the brink of destruction. It appears to me the Almighty is against us, and I can hardly see a ray of hope."
If I had not come as the CEO of the campaign, Trump would not have won.
And that's a fact.
The White House, there's no glamour to the job at all. I hated every second I was there.
Damn it. Just stay focused.
I'm on a mission to convert as many people as possible.
You are part of a worldwide movement. Take out the sword and throw away the scabbard.
I'm gonna get so crushed in this film.
This is what I've done for 40 years. How you doing?
Hey.
Every nationalist party that looks viable, I'm trying to help.
The key point is integration.
Islam,
So-called refugees. The real battle isn't in Washington. This is the future of all our states. It's time for action.
Yes, it's a global revolt.
What did I just watch? Are you now consulting for the National Rally Party?
In your point.
Some of the people you're doing business with here in Europe are connected to neo-fascism. Energizing hate black people, hate Muslims. It's not right.
I actually thought I was doing the Lord's work.
Who is funding this group?
You're doing dog whistle anti-Semitism here. People find it deeply offensive.
Just because you state it doesn't mean it's true.
Will you shut up?
Oh my God. I'm about one thing. I'm about winning.
I want to be a singer, an artist, photographer, fashion designer.
The Washington State Senate is taking up a bill aimed at overturning a controversial law that allows transgender people to use the restroom or even the locker room of the gender they identify with.
This is my youngest daughter.
Do you like my drawing, Mom?
She's 5.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful.
If you open up the ability of a sex offender to go into a restroom claiming that they're somebody else.
She's a really happy girl.
You know, God made us male and female, and we need to honor that.
And we're a pretty typical family, except for one thing. My youngest daughter is transgender.
2016 appears to be a year in which social conservatives, having lost the fight over marriage equality, have now turned their attention onto another vulnerable population.
The idea that a man can just one day wake up in the morning and dress up as a woman and then go and exploit that in a public restroom is completely false.
Being transgender is not related to mental illness. It's no different than inheriting brown eyes or left-handedness.
She didn't pick this. This wasn't a choice. You know, it's not contagious.
There is a civil right to be included in this society.
Governments don't have any legitimate basis for excluding trans people from the restrooms that match their gender identity.
Those arguments were used around separate but equal schools and bathrooms and drinking fountains.
On issues of individual rights and constitutional rights, I don't put that up for a poll. I'm going to vote my principles.
You want to talk about right? My right to throw a punch ends at your nose!
That language and those thoughts and that hatefulness is out there, but I'm ready to fight it.
Trans women are women too! Trans women are women too! They need to be just like you! They need to be just like you!
I have to know that love is going to win over fear.
If someone says, you can't use the men's bathroom, or you can't use the women's bathroom because you're not woman enough, or you're not man enough, what they're ultimately saying is you're not human enough.
Do you live in a democracy?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you vote?
No. No, I do not.
If there's one issue you think is undermining our democracy, what is it?
Great question.
Everywhere you look, democracy is in trouble.
How do you make democracy out of an undemocratic people? That's our problem today.
Democracy, it doesn't feel like this in my head. It doesn't feel like being scared for my life.
أنا من حلب أيمن الأيامي. أنا تركت أهلي بسوريا ما بعرف عنهم شيء.
Plato's Republic provides the most powerful indictment of not just democratic practices, but the possibility of democracy.
Plato says in the Republic, in Book 8, that rich people want to become richer.
And wealthy oligarchs know that they cannot hold on to power in truly democratic elections.
It's been so abused and so misapplied compared to its original meaning, which means the power of the people.
So many of the problems we're confronting are a direct consequence of the fact that slavery was never fully abolished.
If we are going to struggle to make a better world, a more democratic world, we all first must agree that all lives has equal value.
So we're still wrestling with Plato's challenge. Plato's challenge will never go away. Will never go away.
Hello. Now, throughout the years, I've done so many different kinds of work, but never this kind. A narrator of a documentary film. So why now? Why this film? Well, because it is an important film with an important message. When I saw the footage, I realized right away this is a visual feast. It was not just entertaining, but it was also, from an environmental point of view, a message. Let's keep our ocean clean, and let's keep our world clean.
This film was a unique opportunity to show things that after 71 years of scuba diving, I am not able to see when I go diving.
If you really want to have a great experience of feeling like you are with the fish or any other creatures that you see in the ocean, and they're kind of around you, if you want to get that feeling, that's 3D, and that is using 3D in a really wise way.
When I was diving with my father very often, I was looking at some of the images of the animals that he was filming, and he was telling me, you know, Jean-Michel, people protect what they love. The rest of my life I said, how can you protect what you don't understand?
If you look at this film, inevitably, you're going to fall in love with the ocean. And you will discover there's a whole other world there.
We are now able to see things we've never seen before. And of course, we want to protect them.
You know, sharks, the hammerhead shark, when you see that coming towards you in 3D, it's like I went like, whoa, 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 stay away from me. You know, it's like really wild to see this stuff in 3D.
And remember, if you protect the ocean, you protect yourself and future generations.
But please, don't get wet.